All right, so let's get back to this tape. And I think Sean Spicer's not the only one who's like, if Pompeo and Mattis are talking about this, they didn't hear about the black sites and the torture. Like, it's quite possible that, and I think there's a story out there now that's just come out where nobody associated with any of these executive agencies that are directly impacted by these executive orders have been consulted at all. Like, it's quite possible that when what's-his-face gets up there, Tom Price, and says, like, I haven't been consulted about all the plans for rollout of health insurance. Maybe he hasn't.
That's the one thing I'm actually not lying
Maybe
about,
it's just
Mr.
Bannon. Maybe it's just Bannon writing this stuff out.
I'm hoping that Mr. Bannon doesn't hurt my stock portfolio and what he's doing.
We keep saying, like, is Bannon, is his Operation Chaos that we have anticipated, we're not seeing, but maybe we are seeing it. It's just that sometimes the natural inertia of institutions, of organizations, of groups of people, it takes a while for that to break down, right? Momentum takes you in a certain direction. But
it was a huge fucking crowd. They are lying. It is a complete lie, a total lie. It was a great fucking inauguration, big league inauguration, and frankly, the press is lying.
It was a home run. My speech.
Why would he say anything different at CIA? He knocked it out of the park. They were salivating. They wanted more.
I give it back to you. My home run.
All right. So here is more of that ABC interview, which has got me convinced that our president is literally insane.
A lot of problems, and President Trump tonight on the controversial moves he's made already.
Mr. President, I want to start. We're 5 days in, and your campaign promises. I know today you plan on signing the order to build the wall.
Correct.
Are you going to direct U.S. funds to pay for this wall? Will American taxpayers pay for the wall?
Ultimately, it'll come out of what's happening with Mexico. We're going to be starting those negotiations relatively soon, and we will be in a form reimbursed by Mexico, which I've always said.
So they'll pay us back?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yes.
So the American taxpayer will pay for the wall at first?
All it is we'll be reimbursed at a later date from whatever transaction we make from Mexico. Now, I could wait a year and I could hold off the wall, but I want to build the wall. We have to build the wall. We have to stop drugs from pouring in. We have to stop people from just pouring into our country. We have no idea where they're from. And I campaigned on the wall, and it's very important, but that wall will cost us nothing.
But you talked often about Mexico paying for the wall, and you again say they'll pay us back. Mexico's president said in recent days that Mexico absolutely will not pay, adding that it goes against our dignity as a country and our dignity as Mexicans. He says,
well,
quite simply, they're not paying.
David, I think he has to say that. He has to say that. But I'm just telling you, there will be a payment. It will be in a form, perhaps a complicated form. And you have to understand, what I'm doing is good for the United States. It's also going to be good for Mexico.
What are you going to say to some of your supporters who might say, wait a minute, I thought Mexico was going to pay for this right at the start?
Well, I'd say very simply that they are going to pay for it. I never said they're going to pay from the start. I said Mexico will pay for the wall.
When does construction begin?
As soon as we can physically do it. We're
within months?
I would say in months, yeah. I would say in months. Certainly planning is starting immediately.
I want to ask about undocumented immigrants who are here.
Okay, now hold it for 1 second. Now this part, up to this point, seems to me to be just...
back to base.
Yes, just classic Trump. I think what he's referring to in terms of like complicated, the money will come from things around Mexico is his way of saying like, we're going to put tariffs on stuff and that's going to pay up, fees, crossing the border, whatever. And that's how he's going to pay for it. So this is actually the beginning of the interview. The CIA stuff came a little bit later because you can see the progression of the insanity. So now he's being asked about actual attacks on DACA, DAPA, the Dreamers. And you can hear him now, like, now he's in an area that he's not quite as comfortable with, and he sort of forgets that he's not king because it's not, him being benevolent is not really the issue with these people, but as if he's like, bring in the next one. You can sort of stay. You're going to have to go. Next. All right, go.
Who are here in this country. Right now, they're protected as so-called dreamers, the children who were brought here, as you know, by their parents. Should they be worried that they could be deported? And is there anything you can say to assure them right now that they'll be allowed to stay?
They shouldn't be very worried. They are here illegally. They shouldn't be very worried. I do have a big heart. We're going to take care of everybody. We're going to have a very strong border. We're going to have a very solid border. Where you have great people that are here that have done a good job, they should be far less worried. We'll be coming out with policy on that over the next period of 4 weeks.
So, Mr. President, will they be allowed to stay?
I'm going to tell you over the next 4 weeks.
I want to ask you about
All right,
something
pause.
you said this.
So they shouldn't be worried. Well, no, he didn't say they shouldn't be worried. They shouldn't be too worried. You should be somewhat worried, but not too worried. I'm a nice guy. We'll see. Okay, this is still, again, to me, it's not insanity. It's just ridiculousness.
You're deported, but here's a Trump water
Exactly.
on the way out. I have a heart.
I've got you a Trump steaks.
Trump steaks, little mini Trump steaks
one of
for the kids.
Ivanka's bags that she's marketing, the low end version, the one that's going to go to Target. Okay, so then he moves on into this.
4 weeks.
I want to ask you about something you said this week right here at the White House. You brought in congressional leaders to the White House. You spoke at length about the presidential election with them, telling them that you lost the popular vote because of millions of illegal votes, 3 to 5 million illegal votes. That would be the biggest electoral fraud in American history. Where is the evidence of that?
So let me tell you, first of all, it was so misrepresented. That was supposed to be a confidential meeting, and you weren't supposed to go out and talk to the press as soon as you were. But the Democrats viewed it not as a confidential
But
meeting.
you have
They went out
tweeted
and
about
talked.
the millions
Let me
of
explain.
illegal
Sure, you do, and I do, and I'm very,
votes before.
and I mean it. But just so you know, it was supposed to be a confidential meeting. They turned it into a not a confidential. Number two, the conversation lasted for about a minute. They made it, somebody said it was like 25% of the, it wasn't, it was hardly even discussed. I said it, and I said it strongly, because what's going on with voter fraud is horrible. That's number one. Number two, I would have won the popular vote if I was campaigning for the popular vote.
All right, pause it for 1 second. So let's just understand where his number one was. His number one was nobody was supposed to hear about that. I barely mentioned it. It was something completely in passing. I said it strongly, but it was completely in passing, and nobody should even as if he's basically saying, like, it's a waste of time to talk about this, right? He realizes that maybe he got a little bit carried away in this closed-door session with Congress. He wanted to, and so it's a complete waste of time. Now, number two, I'm going to actually tack back and make the argument I was making to those guys. That would only existed for like a minute. Like they said it was 25% of what I said. No, it wasn't 25% of what I said. It was actually like closer to 7% what I said. In fact, let me make the argument now. So this is like closer to 30% of this.
This shouldn't even be out in public. All right, now let's explain it.
I would have gone to California, where I didn't go at all. I would have gone to New York, where I didn't campaign at all. I would have gone to a couple of places that I didn't go to. And I would have won that much easier than winning the Electoral College. But as you know, the Electoral College is all that matters. It doesn't make any difference. With that being said, if you look at voter registration, you look at the dead people that are registered to vote, who vote, you look at people that are registered in 2 states, you look at all of these different things that are happening with registration, you take a look at those registration forms.
Pause it for 1 second. This is the other thing that I noticed about this. I want you to go back. Just like, yeah. All right, I want you to watch this carefully if you're watching it. Watch his eyes. He keeps turning his eyes from the camera to the interviewer. And he does this throughout the interview, right there. It's he's extremely conscious that he's on camera. And there's a sense that like he's digging a hole, and there's a panic that's going on here that is completely not necessary. He's the president. He's got a fairly benign interviewer. Yeah. And he could simply say, look, that was something I said in confidence. It's been misreported. It's completely not important. I'm the president. I'm going to move forward. And he can't even say that. He doesn't have the self-control. He's out of control here.
I would have gone to a couple of places that I didn't go to, and I would have won that much easier than winning the Electoral College. But as you know, the Electoral College is all that matters. It doesn't make any difference. With that being said, if you look at voter registration, you look at the dead people that are registered to vote, who vote, you look at people that are registered in 2 states, you look at all of these different things that are happening with registration, you take a look at those registration, you're going to find, and we're going to do an investigation on it.
But 3 to 5 million illegal votes?
Well, we're going to find out, but it could very well be that much. You have people that are registered who are dead, who are illegals, who are in 2 states. You have people registered in 2 states. They're registered in New York and in New Jersey. They vote twice. There are millions of votes, in my opinion. Now, I'm going to do an investigation.
You're now president of the United States. When you say
of course, and I want the voting process to be legitimate.
But now, what I'm asking, when you say, in your opinion, millions of illegal votes, that is something that is extremely fundamental to our functioning democracy, a fair and free election.
Sure.
You say you're going to launch an investigation into this.
Done.
What you have presented so far has been debunked. It's been called false.
Take a look at the Pew reports.
I called the author of the Pew report last night, and he told me that they found no evidence of voter fraud.
Really? Then why did he write the report?
He said no evidence of voter fraud.
Excuse me. Then why did he write the report?
So
according to Pew report, then he's groveling again. You know, I always talk about the reporters that grovel when they want to write something that you want to hear, but not necessarily millions of people want to hear or have to hear.
So you've launched an investigation.
We're going to launch an investigation to find out. And then the next time, and I will say this, of those votes cast, none of them come to me. None of them come to me. They would all be for the other side. None of them come to me. But when you look at the people that are registered, dead, illegal, and 2 states, and some cases maybe 3 states, we have a lot to look into.
House Speaker Paul Ryan has said, I have seen no evidence. I have made this very, very clear. Senator Lindsey Graham saying it's the most inappropriate thing for a president to say without proof. He seems obsessed with the idea that he could not have possibly lost the popular vote without cheating and fraud. I want to ask you about something bigger here. Does it matter more now?
There's nothing bigger. There's nothing bigger.
But it's important because
let me just tell you, you know what's important? Millions of people agree with me when I say that. If you would have looked on one of the other networks and all of the people that were calling in, they're saying, we agree with Mr. Trump, we agree. They're very smart people.
Let me just ask you, you did win. You're the president. You're sitting across from me right now.
That's true.
Do you think that your words matter more now?
Yes, very much.
Do you think that talking about millions of illegal votes is dangerous to this country
without
presenting the
evidence? Not at all,
evidence?
because many people feel the same way that I do. And
you don't think it undermines your credibility if there's no evidence?
No, not at all, because they didn't come to me, believe me. Those were Hillary votes.
Mr. President.
All right. So there you have it. I mean, this guy cannot. There's nothing bigger. There's nothing bigger than the fact that all these votes went to Hillary and I'm not perceived. He cannot control himself. It's literally like this ABC guy is just saying, like, can't we get past this, of course? No, we can't get past this.
This is the thing.
This is the thing. All right, let's
they
go
need
to
have a mechanism in place to distract him from launching a nuke with Twitter. Like, hey, before we do that, Mr. President, I heard that Rosie O'Donnell said that you have a small penis. Oh, okay, well, forget it. We won't nuke Ukraine then.
I just want to say
there's more after the CIA stuff, right? There's 2 more. Yeah. All right, let's pull up these 2. I want to just do these. Here is. Was there no more sitting down after the CIA thing?
That was that whole segment that they uploaded.
Okay, so we did both ends of that. Here is Trump just walking along, talking about the nuclear codes.
Oh, my God. No, my family, I don't care. Want to talk nukes?
Amazing.
Let me ask you, right after the oath of office, they give you the nuclear codes, the biscuit. Sobering moment?
When they explain what it represents and the kind of destruction that you're talking about, It is a very sobering moment. Yes, it's very, very, very scary in a sense.
Does it keep you up at night?
No, but it's I have confidence that
Yeah,
I'll
it
do the
does,
right
too.
thing and the right job. But it's a very, very scary thing.
There it is. Now, something's keeping him up at night. Apparently, he's only sleeping like 3 or 4 hours a night now, right now.
It's not nukes. I heard there was a kid.
It's the voter fraud. It's the double registration. Incidentally,
There's
I
also a
forgot
kid
to
in
mention double registration. Turns out Bannon, Mnuchin, and Tiffany Trump.
Tiffany. God damn it, Tiffany. You're the bane of my life.
She's the only one he gets mad
Yeah,
at.
exactly. Oh, Steve, you rascal. Tiffany, I hate you. A kid in Des Moines said that I have small hands. I can't get any sleep.
Hey, it's Sam Seder. Why don't you subscribe to this channel? You can do so right over here. Subscribe.